Iran backs the Chinese plan to end the war on the eve of President Trump's visit to Beijing. That's as talks between the US and Iran reach another dead end. Can China help end the US-Iran stalemate? Here's everything you need to know about the past 24 hours.
For the time being, the ceasefire remains in place.
It's unbelievably weak. After reading that piece of garbage they sent us, I didn't even finish reading it.
بنابراین هر آنچه که ما در متنمون پیشنهاد کردیم خواسته‌های معقول، مسئولانه و پیشنهادهای سخاوتمندانه بود، نه فقط برای منافع ملی ایران بلکه برای خیر و ثبات و امنیت کل منطقه.
US President Donald Trump says the deadlock in the Strait of Hormuz will be high on the agenda during his visit to Beijing this week. Talks between the US and Iran are at a standstill, and both sides are now turning to China. Iran's ambassador to China has reiterated his government's support of a Chinese plan to end the war, and Trump says she wants to see a deal soon. Major areas of friction remain between the US and China ahead of the summit. The US imposed more sanctions against Chinese companies and individuals for buying Iranian oil. China is Iran's largest trading partner and buys most of Iran's oil. Before the war began, China relied on the Strait of Hormuz for a third of its oil imports. That's why President Xi is keen to resolve the crisis and is putting forward a 4-point plan. It is based on peaceful coexistence between Gulf neighbors, respect for national sovereignty, adherence to international law, and a balanced approach to development and security. It is a broad set of principles rather than a detailed plan, but many are hoping Beijing has enough leverage with both sides to push through a deal. It's worth noting that Iran's Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi was in Beijing to meet his Chinese counterpart just a week ago. Araghchi's goal was to solidify the relationship before Trump's visit. During the meeting, China reaffirmed its support for Iran to have a peaceful civilian nuclear program, putting it at odds with Trump's zero-tolerance policy. Beijing's role here goes far beyond just being a mediator. While China has a lot to gain from the reopening of the Strait of Hormuz, reports suggest Beijing is also playing a much longer game, positioning itself as the stabilizing force in contrast to what it frames as US-driven chaos. Ending that uncertainty in the Strait of Hormuz remains of paramount importance to the global economy, and Asian nations relying on the Strait of Hormuz are under pressure. India has cut fuel taxes to stabilize prices, but that's put government finances under strain, and Prime Minister Narendra Modi is warning of uncertain times ahead. That's it from me today. Stay with us on Al Jazeera for all your updates in the war on Iran.